the Eagles' downfall the next, if there is one, it will be because Sirianni's in over his head. And again, I don't mean that insulting. I just mean that Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl. He had no business running a fucking football team, and he won a Super Bowl, right? Because he stepped into a perfect situation that everything gelled, everything came together, and the stars aligned. There's a lot of talent on that Philadelphia team that could have carried Sirianni, and I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm just saying we're not going to know until next year and the year after how this goes. But the way the Eagles look right now, the only thing I think that will derail them is if Sirianni is in over his head. He's not as experienced as he should be yet, and he can't hold that whole thing together. But we won't know that for a couple of years.
Yeah, and, I think, like you talked about, the Eagles are young. They have a lot of really good young players. So they'll have a lot of talent on that team for a while. And they've been drafting well, so you got to trust Howie Roseman and his staff there, right? But what I think their concern is going to be in the 2023 offseason is retirements. A lot of these guys that are getting on, like Jason Kelsey, this was pretty much known all year, one last ride. It's not guaranteed. He hasn't said for sure that he's retiring, but it's pretty much implied coming into the season that this was it and that they were going to try to push it for him. Brandon Graham, defensive end for 12, 13 years. He's talking about retirement. Lane Johnson's been dealing with injuries, probably the best right tackle in the game. He's talking about probably retiring. Like, they have some guys that are going to be retiring, but again, they draft so well that it's hard to think they're not going to be able to fill those pieces, especially, you talk about two of the best offensive linemen in the league. The other guys on the offensive line are young guys that they've drafted over the last 3, 4, 5 years, and they're great. So, again, you trust the front office there. It'll be a big, big gamble to see what's going to happen with Sirianni and his coaching staff. You know what I mean? Steichen, he's going to be the Colts head coach.
Yeah,
so
that's probably a done deal right there.
Right, so he's losing that coordinator. Jonathan Gannon, it's said that he's going to be back, but after getting outclassed in the Super Bowl, it'll be interesting. I don't know if it's a done deal. Gannon's going to be back. There are people saying that he won't be back, so Sirianni might be picking two completely different coordinators, and then you got to make that work not only with the rest of the coaching staff, but you also have to make that work with the players also.
Right.
So, the level of turnover.
While they're replacing the other pieces as you talked about.
Exactly right. So getting everything to gel, you know what I mean? It's going to be tough, but I think, the important thing for the Eagles is they have the head coach and the quarterback that they can build on and that they can build around and build everything around, so that we at least know that they have a foundation for what they can do in the future. They're just going to have to, I don't want to say rebuild it. They're a team that, when we talk about teams retooling, they have a little bit of retooling to do. But again, I think, with the front office and coaching that they have there, I think that, I have faith that they'll be able to compete next year.
Okay. Well, like I said, maybe we'll see the Eagles and the Chiefs part 2, the rematch next year in the Super Bowl.
Please, man, give me that same game without the holding call, please.